Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I'm Kelly Stewart, joined today by Ralph Michaels at Cal Sports LV and Dave Koken at Dave Koken. Dave, I got to give you a little pat on the back here. Number one college football handicapper at WagerTalk, 63% of the season, 48, 28, and 4. My only complaint is that apparently everybody else in here is on your email list except for me.
Well, they send me naked pictures. So, you want to get in that club. It's disgusting with that.
I don't know how many I can take of myself in different views that make that happen.
You even have an iPhone, so I know you can't get the good angles for Dave. Okay? All right, guys, right now at WagerTalk.com, half off Dave's college football game of the week, 5% play using Koken50 over at WagerTalk.com.
You know, people can have one good season. I just want to give Dave a shout out because we talk often during the week on the radio. And Dave, 63% sounds semi-familiar. What was last year's record in college football?
64, maybe.
Yeah. So to do it multiple years and that is a different level of having a good season.
There's been some real good years over the years.
Yeah, just a
shout
shout out.
I like college football's, percentage-wise, is my best game.
Nice. I love it. Well, congratulations to you. And now we're moving on into the conference championships and bowl season. So we got plenty of college football left. All right, this is a really hard one for me. I spent a lot of time on this game last night and just inevitably just wanted to beat my face into the wall. Georgia plus 13.
That's not a good idea.
Plus 13.5, playing Alabama. This is like 8.5. So we were talking off air. John Murray and I were talking about this a couple weeks ago. He made the game 8.5.
That's about where I made it.
I sent it over to Johnny. Poof, this line comes out and just gets bombarded with Alabama money.
10.5. Consensus open, we'll say, was 10.5. And it lasted for about a blink, and then it went to 13.5. Here's the thing. I mean, you can look at this and say, well, there's value on Georgia, but do you really want to take your chances against Alabama? I mean, it's with the old expression about getting in front of a runaway freight train applies here. I mean, Georgia's a really good football team. But it does look like it's Alabama and everybody else. My power rating on Alabama, now this tells you how good Georgia is, by the way. My power rating on Alabama is the highest power rating I've ever had for a college football team. I was talking early in the season. Remember this on the radio. We're talking, might have been with Marco, I'm not sure. But on the radio show, we're talking about, geez, this is the highest power rating I've had since Leinart and Bush were together at USC. And that was the highest I'd ever had. That was the best college football team, in my opinion, I'd ever seen. Alabama is now, on my own concoctions, they're 3 points better than that USC team, which is absurd. So I can't bet against them. But the value player in me says you can't lay this much against Georgia. And Georgia's not going to fear Alabama. And we know that to be the case.
Well, we know they're not going to fear him. They faced him several times over the years. Obviously, Alabama wasn't in the SEC championship game last year, but the national championship game was a good game.
It was a great game.
Georgia had a chance to win that game, and I think they've had
Georgia
this
had a
game.
13-0 lead.
I thought Georgia should have won the game.
They had plenty of time to sit there and have this game circled all year. They had the one letdown spot there at LSU, and they've played great ball ever since. All of a sudden, like I said, this line's 8.5. Alabama takes Auburn to the woodshed. Georgia takes Georgia Tech to the woodshed, and then nothing happens in favor of Georgia. All it is, now we got a really bad Alabama because look what they just did to Auburn. It's very strange to me, but Ralph, I'll let you touch on this one because I know you have some good points.
Let's go back to last year's championship game. It's 11 months ago, the exact same setting. It was in the Atlanta Dome, was the national championship. Alabama was 4 and a total of 45. So that gives you great value for Georgia and the under in this game. Yeah, 2 is great, but is that an 18-point swing as far as the total goes when you have two teams wanting to play more conservative on defense? And then you look at Georgia. We said last year they were up 13-0 at halftime, and what did it take? Remember, Tua got sacked in overtime, and then a 41-yard touchdown pass to win it, or Georgia's the national champion. And I look at the offense and defense efficiency-wise, Bama and Georgia are both top 5 in the country. Defense-wise, Bama's now 1 or 2 with Michigan going down. Georgia, I have about number 7, so not a big difference. But one thing I don't think people have thought about is Bama hasn't needed their special teams at all. They are number 98 in my special teams. Georgia's number 38. They do not have a good special teams unit, but it hasn't mattered because they're up 20 points every game. They haven't needed them, and no one's counted on them.
I mean, the punter needs navigation to find his way to the field.
Yeah.
Just stands there the whole game.
But
you're right. Look, nobody's perfect. But boy, all those games this weekend, if the best I can do is take a chance against Alabama, I don't think I want to do. I got some games I really like this weekend, but boy, this isn't one of them.
Bama is going for a record, and Bama has won 12 straight games by 20-plus points.
Sheesh.
So they have never been tested. They have not been behind. Their closest game at halftime this year was Auburn, 17-14, but that game was at home. Their closest game on the road was LSU, 16-0, and LSU wasn't going to score. They didn't have to worry about it the second half. This is from good friend Mark Lawrence. Bama has 12-plus wins by 20 or more points. Dave, who's the only other team in college football to have 12-plus wins by 20 or more? You may remember this team.
Brown University.
It was Yale, 1888.
Well, it really was an Ivy League game?
1888.
You were so close.
I thought you would remember that. Were you not at that game?
No, I wasn't. I always answer Brown University if I don't know the answer to something because I grew up.
But again,
Brown
I just think
University.
Georgia hasn't been tested. I think special teams come into effect. I would grab the points in this.
Just to be clear, I did not attend Brown University, although I did have a lot of people who bet with me who were at Brown University.
I love it.
I was on campus a lot.
Great stuff. Oh, good old stories from Dave Koken. Guys, right now, take $100 off bowl packages through the national championship game using coupon code BOWL100 and get conference championship weekend included for free.